killer Irish houseplants. Oh my God. What's up, book friends? Today I'm going to be talking about Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. What is in this book? Well, it's literary horror. We've got a lot of talk about scary plants. It's not a comedy, though. We have some good Irish banter, some friendships. We've got a queer love triangle. We have a really creepy mall. And we also have kind of like a one of those weird, scary, open-ended endings that is going to just be in the back of my head forever until I figure out what happened. Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around like my thoughts on this book, but I just know that I really enjoyed it, even if like I don't really know what happened at the end. So let's talk about it. I'm also going to be sharing some other like queer books for Pride Month that I enjoyed. So I'll probably be recording that this week. But since this book is still fresh in my mind, I just want to talk about it and review it a little bit. I'm always on the hunt for like books that have like my hobbies in them, and I love plants and flowers. And so when I heard that this was a book about like a sentient orchid that eats people, I was definitely intrigued. Like, I like weird, scary stuff. That's like one of my main reading vibes these days. And so, yeah, I checked this out on Libby and I just really enjoyed it. But it wasn't exactly what I expected, I guess. You might think that this is like a comedy, like, oh, houseplants that are eating people. And it's very reminiscent of a movie that I actually haven't seen yet, but now I have to watch, called Little Shop of Horrors. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. Yeah, now that like I am like reading about this movie, it does seem like it's some kind of spin-off of that. And that seems like it's a comedy, but this is actually very scary. Like, it actually really freaked me out, and I like to read late at night, and I was, like, reading this in bed thinking, like, it's a good thing that I don't have plants in my room, or else I would actually have to, like, take them out of my room, or else I would be, like, scared that I was, like, sleeping next to plants because of what these scary plants do in the book. So there is kind of like yeah, of course, there's, like, a fantasy aspect to it. There's also some really freaky, like, body horror, but all the while, like, it's just really beautifully done. Like, the imagery is really scary and beautiful. Like, I could imagine it as like a movie while I was reading it. Um, if you like get what I mean. So like, I would love to see this adapted into like a horror movie. I think that would be really, really fun. I would also read this again as like a comedy if anyone has any recommendations on like scary plant books. So let's talk a little bit about what this book is about. Also, if I didn't already mention, like, no spoilers, I'm not even going to tell you that much about the plant, because I feel like it's better to just like discover it while you're reading, and I don't want to mess it up for anyone. So the book opens up with this really electric meet cute. When you read it, it's like the world just stops, and you know immediately that you're excited and on board for the romance that is going to go down in the book between these two florists, Neve and Shell. And so Neve is like the owner of the shop in this like decrepit mall that is a really kind of creepy place. Like, almost all the stores have gone out of business. Tiles are like dropping from the ceiling. There's like plants growing everywhere. Lights are flickering. But the florist is still like going strong, and Neve needs help. And so Shell, who has just like gotten out of a relationship and come back to her hometown, like, she sees the sign and she goes inside and check out this meet cute. It could have been anyone who took notice of the sign, but it was Shell, and the room was flooded by emotion when she and Neve began to speak. Both of them in so much pain, so polluted by loss that it had just about changed their color. It warmed the temperature of the air in the shop, and I could feel it over every inch of myself. How the energy they both took to conceal it was so potent you could get wasted off it, if that kind of thing was your poison. If this tiny exchange rushed through me so hard, what will it feel like in a week, 2 weeks, in a month, to watch it bloom and ripen for eating? So, who is this narrator? The narrator is Baby, a sentient orchid that eats people. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the plant because I don't want to spoil anything. Also, like, I'm not entirely sure that I even understood like what was going on. I don't usually enjoy stuff like this, like when I'm not really sure what's happening, but it was so like beautiful and mysterious that it just really drew me in, and I actually really enjoyed it. But I'm still not even really sure like what happened, like if this book was like a dream or like a hallucination. Like I feel like it's just going to stick with me for a long time, and especially because it has this like kind of open-ended ending that is just going to kind of haunt me forever. But let's get back on track. What happens in this book? So they start working together at the florist, and Shell really starts like getting back into like her life, like enjoying life again. She really enjoys like working with Neve and like working with plants. And she meets like the friend group, and there's kind of like a bit of a love triangle that I was like really invested in. Like just fantastic characters, really well written, like well developed. They have quite a bit of like Irish banter that I was really into, but again, it's not like a comedy, like it's still very foreboding. And the thing is that you start to like the characters so much that you are worried about like their survival because you don't want them to get eaten by like this evil plant. And we actually learn that Neve, she's been enabling the plant. And I something that bothered me was that I wasn't really understanding her like devotion to it, because she doesn't seem like an evil person. And so sometimes I would kind of be annoyed about like how the book didn't really show enough of like her motivation for helping the plant. But we learned that there's a bunch of like mysterious things that have happened, disappearances, deaths, and that Neve is like complicit in all of this. And you see that she and Shell are like, having this kind of like silent love just kind of like overwhelm them. And yeah, I was just like super invested and really, really scared when things started to go down, when you saw like what the plant like wants to do. And since the plant is like narrating everything, you just like, that shit is about to go down. It was really scary. But a couple of things that I just like personally really loved about it. Okay. The like the body horror of like what the plant does is just so beautiful. Like it's scary in such a beautiful way. Like it's just awesome. And my favorite like side character actually was Jen, who is Neve's ex-girlfriend. And Jen, I feel like, do you ever like find a character that you're like, oh my gosh, this is like my long lost best friend, but it's like a fictional person? She was just so funny. Like she actually broke up with Neve because Neve was trying to get her into like the freaky plant stuff, and she was like, how about no? And she's like a botanist, and she would just say like the funniest stuff without even trying to be funny. And so it brought some kind of like levity. Like all the banter was just like really enjoyable because I would be so scared about the plant stuff, and then I would just be like laughing from all this like well written kind of banter. She says, how can you call the cops on a plant? And there's a lone birthday balloon hanging miserably up by the ceiling tiles, deflated but still aloft. That's me up there, Jen said, pointing to it. She'd forgotten what it was like to have friends at all, but here was her girl, her secret agent. Hey, let's get out of here before I buy 40 chicken nuggets and put them into my mouth all at once. She just said really funny, random stuff all the time. So I was really obsessed with her. Didn't want her to get eaten by a scary plant. But yeah, what else can I say about it? I just highly recommend it. Really enjoyed it. So rare that I like love something that's fantasy. And I'm going to be pretty creeped out by my plants for a while. Great book. Let me know if this is on your TBR, if you've already read it, because I really need to talk to people about the ending. So anyway, thanks for so much for watching this, and Tishka and I will catch you guys next time. Let me know what you thought of the little baby microphone, or if you have like tips for how I can hold it, because yeah, I had planned on like maybe putting it like this, but I don't think it sounds as good like that. So I'm gonna have to experiment. See you guys next time. Bye. Little baby microphone. Yeah, I'm a little baby microphone. How does it sound? How does it sound? A little baby microphone.